By the end of the first fortnight in April, Argentina's hold on the Falklands was complete. A massive airlift had brought in more than 9,000 troops and vast quantities of supplies. Planes flew the 800-mile round trip to the mainland every day, building up the garrison with more and more men and material. In a move to stop the constant flow of reinforcements, Britain announced a total exclusion zone around the islands. In effect, a blockade. Any Argentine ship, and later it applied to planes too, entering an area within 200 miles of the Falklands was likely to be attacked. For the Argentines, it meant that restocking their supplies became a hazardous business, though they did manage to get some things through right to the end. The commander of the Argentine troops on the island, also appointed governor, was 52-year-old General Menendez. He had a reputation as a hard-liner, and despite his outward charm, he was a tough soldier who'd made his name fighting rural guerrillas in the remote Argentine outback. Winning the hearts and minds of the local people was one of the general's main preoccupations. That, and also doing his bit to reassure world opinion.
How many troops are in the island? Well, I can tell you that we have here many troops, but not exactly the number. I think this is a special thing for military matters. Do you understand?
Can you tell us how, se puede decir, cómo anda su cooperación con el pueblo aquí malvinense? How are you getting along with the people here?
I think it's a particular thing because the people of the islands is now, I think, a little afraid in order it will be military operation here.
With all the equipment the Argentines had moved in, the prospect of a military operation was obviously very much on the cards. The army was looking more and more like an occupation force. Most of the men were conscripts who joined at 18, often reluctantly, to serve the 12 months minimum. For the regulars, though, the Falklands campaign was a rare opportunity to put their military talents to use. Argentina hadn't fought a foreign power for more than a century. These soldiers, interviewed by an American television crew, had just arrived in Port Stanley.
We are very well, and we think that we are in the right here, so we came to stay here because the islands are from us.
Do you think that the British will ever be able to take these islands back?
No, I don't think so. I think that the islands must remain for Argentina, and they will remain for Argentina.
The Argentine authorities had issued the islanders with a long list of do's and don'ts. They were to drive on the right-hand side of the road. No one was to travel without military approval. Identity cards were issued. Food supplies were all right, although shops were only allowed to open for 2 hours in the morning. Even then, there weren't many customers. Most Port Stanley people had left for the country, or camp as they call it, leaving just a few families behind. The Argentine authorities also made a start at trying to get the islanders to learn Spanish. To avoid it, as a gesture, they refused to send their children to school.
Okay, which is the school?
This one here. That's the senior school. The junior school is probably looks a bit more school-like.
Where the soldier is right there is the main entrance to the school?
That's the main entrance to the senior school.
And why did you decide to walk out?
We walked out because we could not hold school in the conditions that prevailed immediately after the invasion. We had military presence, especially outside the junior school, the infant school. We had tanks, we had soldiers in the yard. And most of our school population were disappearing to the camp anyway, to the countryside.
Did they put restrictions on what you could teach?
No, they said that they wouldn't, but at the same time we didn't wish to be seen to be supporting their regime in any way. In fact, we have been holding school for the younger children in private houses, but we weren't going to give them that propaganda of supporting their idea of normalcy. This place has been raped, so there's no way that there is a normal situation.
Too much. So they said they wouldn't change it. They're already doing that. They're changing things so much.
Like what?
Well, they're putting all our expatriates out of their jobs. I mean, we can't talk the language. They have a different way of living anyway. I mean, they're going up and down here with guns, and I've even seen them in the hospital with guns. We don't like that sort of thing.
We were supposed to carry on as normal, right? These arrows show suddenly you've got to change the way you run your traffic. How can you carry on as normal? It's ridiculous. The people here don't want Argentine rule. You probably won't get many of them say it because they're scared.
I'm staying. I'm staying if it remains the Falklands, but not Argentina. I can't say anymore. It makes me so angry. The old people are frightened. They're frightened. Some of them are frightened to go out of their homes. They've been begging for food at the doors. And now I'm going to see if I can see Blue Marie. This is the chap in charge. To see if I can get something done about this old man's property. They're checking houses now to see who's left in them, who's not left in them. You know, for Christ's sake, somebody out there do something. Something, anything.